Hello, welcome. It's great to join you again. Today we're talking about if your HR team is AI ready. We're going to assess your readiness in just 30 minutes. Thank you for joining me. I am Marissa Murphy-Becerra. I'm an executive advisor here at NEOED, and I want to thank you for joining this AI readiness workshop. Let's set some expectations right out of the gate. This is a working session yet again, and we're not here to just talk about abstract ideas or some futuristic concepts. We're going to leave today with a clear, realistic next step for your team about how they can start using AI. To get the most out of our time together, please make sure you have that digital or printed AI readiness worksheet open right now because we're going to be using that actively throughout the presentation. I want this to be an engaged communal conversation, so please keep your fingers on the keyboards and use that chat and QA functionality frequently. The chat function will go to everyone. The Q&A will go to our team members here at NEOED who are manning this in the background. All right, are you ready? Let's start with a quick poll. Let's figure out where everyone is on their AI usage. So you should see the poll up in front of you and it's on your screen. And I'd love you to just quickly vote. Where are you using AI in HR today? Yes, actively exploring or testing, or not yet. So the results are coming in. And it looks like we've just closed down the votes, 56%, 56 voted. And so yes, actively, 20% of you, exploring or testing for 60% of you, and no, not yet for another 20% of you. So that's great. It's a good mix. And here's the best news is whether you're already running pilots or you haven't touched it yet, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to dig a little deeper, and I want everyone to think about their current workflows. And then in the chat box, drop in there what's the single HR task on your desk right now that feels the most manual and time intensive? Is it sorting through candidate resumes? Is it drafting repetitive communication? Is it booking appointments for interviews, onboarding or processing onboarding paperwork? I talked to someone today who manually enters 240 paper time cards. What's taking up the most of your time? Go ahead and pop that in the chat. All right. Well, lots of people are doing lots of different things that take up their time. Let's move on to the next things as those chat answers keep rolling in. For the next 25 minutes, we are going to look at a three-step framework. First, we're going to assess your current readiness using a really structured diagnostic tool. And then second, we're going to use scores to identify 1 to 2 practical use cases that match your organizational capacity. And then finally, we'll end with defining your 30-day actions, next steps that you can build immediate momentum. And remember, this is a snapshot. This is not a massive multi-year IT overhaul project. What we're looking for is immediate clarity, not immediate perfection. Okay? So, are you ready? Actually, before we start jumping into scoring anything, I want to do a quick reflection. As I mentioned earlier, take about 30 seconds and think through those things that your own institution, and then drop some answers into the chat. Where are you already using AI or automation today, even if it's in small ways? Drop that in wherever you're using AI or automation, especially for those 60% that are kind of testing things out, or the 20% that are yes, all in. And then tapping back to that original question that I asked, now think about your day-to-day work. What feels the most manual or time intensive? Those of you who are shy, you can just think of it on your head and maybe write down some ideas for yourself. It could, again, remember, it could be anything: reviewing applications, responding to candidates, managing forms, tracking down paperwork, double entry of information between systems, performance reviews, or heaven forbid, those time cards like the county that I talked to today. All right, well, more good news for you. You are not alone in this. Most teams are in similar places where they're starting to assess a few areas where they can evolve, but a lot of it still feels very, very hands-on. So last question, where do you see an opportunity for AI to actually make a difference or improve efficiency or decision-making in your work? Don't overthink it. Just identify one area that stands out. Where could you do things more efficiently? This context is important because as we go into this assessment, you'll be evaluating your readiness based on your actual workflows, not on theory. What is it that we're doing that we could do more efficiency to take some more, let the systems do things that systems do and the humans do things that humans do. So keep those things in mind as we go forward. All right. Now's the time for the paperwork. So as we go through this assessment worksheet, I'm going to read some statements, and then what you're going to do is check those boxes. Mark a yes if the statement is fully true for your team, and that'll be worth 2 points. If it's somewhat true, you've started some work on it, but maybe haven't finished it, that's worth 1 point. And if it's a no, you haven't addressed it yet, that's okay, but it's not worth any points or 0 points there, okay? Ready? Pens up, let's get started. Section 1, strategy and direction. Score your institution's use of AI on these 3 pillars. We have defined clear goals for how AI and automation should support our broader HR operations. Do you know where AI is going to be used in your HR operations? And we're very clear about it. Yes, somewhat, or no. Our leadership team is fully aligned on the precise role that AI should play in our HR processes. You have leadership buy-in. And lastly, in this section, we've explicitly identified specific opportunities to improve operational efficiency and decision-making with human in the loop using AI. So take a moment to check yes, somewhat, or no for these 3 items on your worksheet. All right, moving on to section 2, responsible use and compliance. This section is vital for higher education institutions and public agencies or any sort of structured HR environment where equity and transparency are non-negotiable. So when you think about that, score yourself on the following of the 3 questions here. All AI-supported outputs are reviewed by a qualified human being before any HR decisions are finalized. This is really ensuring that the human in the loop is in there. It's essential. It's an essential part of your AI strategy because AI is not replacing humans. It's humans learning to work smarter with AI. Next, we have actively considered fairness, algorithmic bias, and systematic transparency in our AI-supported processes. So we're looking to make sure that we've reviewed this, that whatever information we're putting into the system doesn't already contain biases, because research shows that people go along with those biases once AI puts it out, and that it's fair and you have transparency. You can document to people where the AI is coming in and where it's being utilized for checkpoints. And then the last one, we can easily document or track exactly how and where it's being utilized within our daily HR workflows. That way, if it ever comes into question, you can pinpoint it right back there. So be brutally honest and mark your scores here on your worksheet. All right, third metric, moving right along, measurement and impact. So let's address the final 3 evaluation questions. First, we've clearly defined how business success will be measured for our AI-supported initiatives. How will we know if this is better? How will we know if this is what good looks like? Are we achieving good? And we've identified at least one specific low-risk HR process where AI could be applied right now. Chatbots, scheduling of interviews, automating workflows and form processing, self-service updates, data flowing between systems, etc. And then we have mechanisms to track post-implementation improvements in efficiency, consistency, and overall outcomes. And in order to do those post-implementation improvements, you got to know what it was before implementation too. So make sure you're getting that pre-implementation information too. So go ahead and mark your answers, yes, somewhat, or no. And let me emphasize that this part, measurement and impact, is the place where most HR teams completely stall. If you don't have a way to build measurement and success right from the beginning, you won't be able to generate the organizational momentum that's needed to get both staff and leadership buy-in later. And you won't be able to scale things or move them, grow them higher within your organization, get more adoption. All right, time to do some math. If you're like me, grab your calculator, and then we're gonna go through. For all your yeses, you got 2 points. Somewhat, you got 1, and a no, a goose egg. Go ahead and add all of those up for me, or for yourself. And then we're going to take a look at your readiness. So as you tally up your responses, get your grand total, there's a maximum of 18 points. So 0 to 6, you're in the early stage, and we'll talk about what these stages look like a little bit more in a minute. Early stage, 7 to 12, you're in the developing tier. And 13 to 18, you're advancing. So pat yourself on the back. You're really leading the way. So here's our biggest engagement moment of the day. Drum roll. If you're so brave, enter your tier into the chat. Where are you at now? Early, developing, or advancing? And let's see where people stand. While those come in, I'll do a quick review of each of these and what they look like, or a practical interpretation of what these buckets, the definition of these buckets, and then what your action plan could be. So 0 to 6, remember that was that early stage. You're still making solid progress. Your objective right now is really around optimization. It's work on formalizing your strategic goals. It's strengthening your compliance and your data governance policies. And it's defining clear measurements of tracking. You have to, as I said before you can say where AI has been used and improved business processes, you have to understand where they are today. So if you started this and you didn't measure before, start measuring now, because as you refine it, you can begin to see the progress. Okay, if you were between 7 and 12, you're making solid progress. Oops, I messed that up. 7 to 12 was solid progress. Let me go back to 0 to 6, the early stage. 0 to 6 was laying the foundational groundwork. Your immediate focus should be on building internal alignment, addressing skepticism from leadership and from people that'll be utilizing the solution, and maybe even the public, especially if you're doing this around applications or candidate experience. You really want to create some foundational awareness and explore areas of really intensive manual work like we talked about when we first began. This is where AI can approve efficiencies and be really impactful. So maybe this is where you start that measurement of current practices, the amount of time it takes, the amount of money that it takes, the number of people that are involved, or the number of steps in a workflow, so you can get your before or your current state. And then developing, that's that progress, working on optimization, formalizing things like governance and strategy. And now you're going to refine those processes. You're going to see where improvement has been made. And then 13 to 18, you're advancing. You're genuinely leading the way. And your focus is on scalability or finding more places where AI can be used within your organization or within your HR practices. So continue to push that envelope and safely scale your impact. Drive creative innovation and really optimize your current pilots to become permanent solutions. All right. So now that you know your organizational baseline, let's look at the functional landscape to identify where AI can really solve your real world challenges today. On your worksheet, I want you to now score 3 core HR business buckets on the screen and just select 2 to 3 priority areas. Is it recruiting and operations, recruiting and hiring, onboarding and HR operations, or performance and development? So with onboarding, with recruiting and hiring, is it drafting and refining job descriptions? Is it organizing or reviewing candidate materials? Is it allowing AI to match skills and suggest top candidates to the top? Or is it supporting candidate communication and workflows? Candidates want to hear from us right away. Most expect a response, even if it's we've received your application and we're working on it within 72 hours, which is not normal with civil service processes, right? So we've got to modify and adapt. The second box, onboarding and HR operations. Are you looking to streamline forms and admin tasks? Are you responding to common questions through FAQs? Maybe you can use chat bots. Maybe you want to reduce manual, heavy, repetitive tasks. All right, let's see. Recruiting and performance and development, one of my favorites. Maybe it's automating the flow of information by emails. You don't have to copy and paste information or acknowledgments or summaries or communication into the performance evaluation. And then at the end of the year, at the time for check-ins, you get that summarized by all the documentation that you have inside of the system. Or maybe it's recommending personalized training tracks for individuals or analyzing internal workforce trends. Where in our organization are we seeing the lowest performance? Is that linked to something we can be more proactive about, providing resources to people leaders or maybe different departments and divisions? Is that linked to higher levels of absenteeism or more overtime or recruitments and a higher turnover in some organizations? Start to look at this at a holistic level and use AI to generate some of those understandings of what's happening within the organization. So pick your top targets. And if you're feeling really bold, go ahead and drop that priority area into the chat for me right now. All right. As my daughter would say, let's lock in. Let's lock in on your progress before we leave today. Look at the final action plan block on your worksheet and take a minute of quiet time to answer these 4 questions to yourself. What's the single biggest operational challenge that you identified during this diagnostic or during the work together? What was something that you could move the needle on? What's the most obvious opportunity for immediate process improvement? And what functional area would benefit at the most from an automated tool right now? Last one, what is exactly one concrete, realistic action that you can take in the next 30 days to move the needle forward? Write it down, make it specific, make it real, and share it with others, because others will help you be accountable as well. So take some time to jot down some answers to that. All right. As we wrap up our time together, I want to leave you with a couple thoughts. First, true AI readiness is not completely about, no, let me back it up a little bit. AI readiness is completely about organizational clarity. It's about workflow structure. It's about direction. It's almost never about the technology itself. Most HR teams aren't really blocked by software limitations. They're blocked by a lack of clear, structured strategy and a game plan for how to use that. Second, the best way to get ahead is to start. Start with intention. Start in a place or a process that could use optimization and efficiency. And as Stephen Covey says, start with the end in mind. So, for example, I want to improve the onboarding experience for new hires by reducing the amount of time spent on paperwork by 5 hours per hire, meaning the preparing of the packets, them coming in, sitting down, filling out a stack of paper when they come into their first day, processing it, entering it into multiple systems, following up on it because they forgot one area. Figure out how you can do that. Start small, and starting small means measuring before, measuring during, and measuring after. And remember, it's not perfection. We're not looking for perfection. We need to refine both as needed and refine often. Revisit, how's this working? What experiences did we have? Are they good? They bad? Do we need to change things? And then celebrate both the challenges and the successes because you're going to learn from both of them. Pick one high impact use case, build some momentum around it, and then lean into it. Learn from what works and then scale your efforts to systematically build that based on your results. All right. So if you want to go further or you want help operationalizing your worksheet results, or you simply want to see how peers are navigating their own AI readiness journey, we are always here to help you to continue this conversation. You can reach out to me directly. I'm marissa.murphybecerra@neogov.net. You can always contact your customer success manager or your account manager or account executive here at NeoGov, and we'd be glad to help you. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you found this session useful, and thank you for your commitment to modernization and your curiosity around how AI can help you. Have a wonderful rest of your day and take that next step forward. Cheers.